In my last video, we talked about verbs and verbal formations, where we mentioned the formations of verbs, which includes the regular verbs, the irregular verbs, the main verbs, and the auxiliary verbs. And in the video also, I made mention of the types of auxiliary verbs, the primary auxiliaries and the modal auxiliary verbs. So in today's video, we will be continuing with the modal auxiliary verbs, which are 13 in number. Mastering modal auxiliaries is all about understanding their subtle differences and nuances and using them effectively in context. It takes practice, of course, but the payoff is huge. By incorporating modal auxiliaries in your language toolkit, you will be able to express yourself with precision and confidence, whether in writing or in conversation. Welcome back to my channel. This is your online English tutor at Banky's Corner. Subscribers are welcomed on this channel. On this channel, we discuss everything relating to education. Modal auxiliary verbs are helping verbs that shows capability, necessity, possibility, or willingness. It does not change form or change tense. There are 13 in number, and they are can, could, shall, should, will, would, may, might, ought to, need to, must, used to, and have to. So we'll be looking at the uses and sentence examples of these modal auxiliary verbs. The first on the list will be modals can and could. Can and could. What are the uses of these modal auxiliary verbs? We use it for ability, to signify ability. It represents possibility. It represents polite request and permission. Let's look at the sentence examples of each. He can carry the load. He can carry the load. Of course, the modal in that sentence is can. It expresses ability. He told me that he could carry the load. It also expresses ability in that sentence. Possibility. The former president can be arrested. The former president can be arrested. Then the could. The man could be right. For the polite request, we have, can you help me with this bag? Can you help me with this bag? Then for the could you lend me your pen? This is a request and is polite enough. The permission examples are, the boys can play football now. The boys can play football now. Then the boys could play football whenever they like. The boys could play football whenever they like. Then shall. It shows determination, expressing future actions. Let's look at the examples now. We shall attend the party. That shows determination. We shall attend the party. Then the example expressing future actions. I shall visit the museum next month. I shall visit the museum next month. Note this, shall is used with the first person pronouns. that is singular and plural, I and we, to express future actions. To express threats, we have, if you come late to school again, you shall be severely punished. If you come late to school again, you shall be severely punished. Here, shall can be used with second and third person pronouns only to express threats. If he walks out on me, he shall be dealt with. If he walks out on me, he shall be dealt with. Let's look at the third modal example, which is should. Should shows obligation. Should shows obligation. Example, you should be punctual. You should be punctual. Then the second one says, we should be thankful for your assistance. We should be thankful for your assistance. Should also expresses polite requests and permission. Examples, should I make use of your book? Or for the permission, should I close the door? Both examples here, one is expressing polite request, the other is expressing permission. We have will. How do we make use of will? Will expresses future actions, determination, and requests. Will expresses future actions, determination, and requests. Note this, like shall and will is used to express future actions, but it is used for the second and third person's pronouns, either the singular and plural form. Examples, you will visit the orphanage next year. You will visit the orphanage next year. And you can either use he, she, it, or will. We visit orphanage next year. You can also use they will visit orphanage next year. Let's look at the example that expresses determination. We will attend the rally despite all odds. We will attend the rally despite all odds. The request, will you give me your pen? Will you give me your pen? Let's look at the next modal auxiliary verb, which is would. Would expresses or shows polite request, probability, to express preference, to express actions done as habits in the past. Examples, would you allow me into the hall? Would you allow me into the hall? Those would be my students singing. Those would be my students singing. To express preference now, I would prefer tea to coffee. To express actions done as habits in the past. Every year, all members of the club would travel abroad for 5 years. Every year, all members of the club would travel abroad for 5 years. May and might. May and might, what do we use it for? We use it to seek permission, to express possibility, and to express request. For the permission, you may see the principal. You may see the principal. I told him that he might see the principal. If you want to rearrange the sentence, I told him that he might see the principal. Then to express possibility, it may rain today. Another example, that might be the man. That might be the man. To express requests, may I pluck the flower? May I pluck the flower? You might just tell us the story. You might just tell us the story. May is only used to express wishes. May you live long. May you live long. Ought to. Let's look at the next modal auxiliary, ought to. What are the uses? We use it to express obligation, to offer advice. Ought to is commonly used with have plus the past participle to express desirable actions or unfulfilled ones. Look at the examples. You ought to pay for your mistake. You ought to pay for your mistake. That's obligation, right? To offer advice now, you ought to take your drugs at once. You ought to take your drugs at once. Ought to, the examples. He ought to have studied hard for the examination. He ought to have studied hard for the examination. Another example, she ought to have gone to bed by now. She ought to have gone to bed by now. The next item on the list of modal auxiliary is dare. This is used commonly to mean to have the courage to, and most times in the negative form. It is used in the negative form. It is used also with hardly, never, nobody. In the negative, there can be used without to. Let's look at the examples. He dare not talk when I'm talking. He dare not talk when I'm talking. He hardly dared to speak. He hardly dared to speak. He didn't dare to argue with me. He didn't dare to argue with me. Let's look at need. What do we use need for? It expresses some need. We use it to express some need, necessity, or obligation. Need I go to school today? Need I go to school today? Another example here, need they have to play football every day? Note this, needn't is negative and it means absence of need. You needn't have gone to school. You needn't have gone to school. Let's look at must. It expresses obligation and compulsion. Also, it is used to draw logical conclusion and also to question the need for an action. Look at the examples. You must read your books. That's an obligation and compulsion. You must cultivate a good reading habit as a student. To draw logical conclusion, you must be tired by now. You must be tired by now. Also, let's look at another example. You must have studied hard for the examination. You must have studied hard for the examination. Another example to question the need for an action. Must you travel with your family to your hometown? Must you travel with your family to your hometown? Let's look at the last modal auxiliary verb, which is used to. It is used mainly to express past habitual action. Look at examples. He used to play football when he was young. He used to play football when he was young. That means he's no longer playing football, maybe playing something else. or participating in another games or activities. Look at another example here. I used to live there. I used to live there. That means I'm no longer staying or living there. So far, we have looked at the 13 modal auxiliary verbs, which of course helps us to express ourselves with precision and confidence, whether in writing or in conversation. Remember, it's all about improving in our communicative skill. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you've got any question or experience about verbs and its types, please share them in the comments below. And don't forget to tune in next time for more advanced grammar topics and language tips. Do not forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Remember, keep learning and keep improving in your communicative ability. See you in my next video. Bye.